Hello there, and welcome to another Workbooks briefing where we're covering the Workbooks new release, showcasing the new card view customization option, freeze columns on your landing pages and reports, the new hamburger button. I'll remove this screen before we start salivating, and make it easier for tab navigation. And fourthly, edit multiple records at once using the new edit grid option on landing pages. So good morning. My name is Tim Wilmot, joined by Peter Johnson. We are Wizard Systems, independent CRM suppliers, supplying workbooks and other solutions to help organizations improve their sales, marketing, and customer service productivity. So thanks for joining us today for our pretty regular, almost weekly briefings on workbooks, little mini training sessions, trying to eke out and show you the not only the core capabilities of the workbooks product, but also maybe some things that you're not aware of. And this morning, we're going to cover the new features of the latest release that came out about a week or so ago. So this presentation will be about 10 minutes, quarter of an hour or so in duration, not meant to be in-depth analysis of this. If you want to have a deeper dive into any other capabilities of workbooks, please contact us at Wizard Systems. We'd love to speak with you to make sure that you get the most out of your CRM system and everyone knows its full capabilities. Now, the audio part of this presentation is one way only. If you've got any questions, please type those into the question box on your meeting control panel. We'll do our best to answer those at the end. Probably best to type them in as you think of them, right, rather than wait to the very end. And the call has been recorded. After the presentation, you will get an email from our system with a link to the recording. You can play back as many times as you want to, share with your colleagues, and it will be up on our YouTube channel as well. Go up to YouTube, do a search for Wizard Systems. You'll find us there, and a whole load of other workbooks videos in a workbooks playlist. So just a brief mention about Wizard Systems, long-standing CRM system supplier. We've implemented well over 3,000 CRM installations, mainly in the UK and a little bit further afield. We cover any kind of help around workbooks, guidance, consultancy, and training. Training right now is sort of online. We have actually semi-reopened our Bristol office where we've got a couple of training facilities there. So we're all very COVID secure, but if you want to do any training online, we're here to help you get the most out of the product. And finally, we've got our help desk support as well. So let me hand over to my colleague, Peter, who I know some of you listening live have spoken to before. And Pete will take us through the new releases. We're all working from our home location, so we're just going to change desktops here. Just bear with us a second. Here we go.
Okay, so hi Tim. Hopefully you should be able to hear me okay. Let me go into here and hopefully you can see my screen okay.
Yep, looking good.
Good, which means everybody else can as well. Thank you. Right, so yes, good morning to everybody. We're going to have a look at these 4 items that Tim mentioned. The card view, freezing the panes when you're scrolling through landing pages and reports, hamburger tab, selection, and the grid edit. So we're going to start off with the card view. These are all quite quick and simple to show today. You may have had some notification just on your standard bulletins that pop up. Lots of people have asked me in the past of how you get back to these. So if you have dismissed a bulletin board, you've closed it, they are available down in the bottom of your start menu here, and you can go through and see all of the bulletins that have been there in the past or published and so forth. So there's a bit of information about this latest release and some of those items that we're going to cover today. But this card view item is probably the only one of the four that just needs a little bit of configuration, normally by your administrator or somebody that's used to configuring the screens. Now, some of you may have just default views, but if I go to a person record, this Alan Whitehead is a classic. You might have already an option to change views to see the record in a different way. This is my default view. I tend to allow other users to see, and then I've got this simplified one. And if we look at the simplified one, you can see it's just a cut down version. This is ideal by departments. Maybe some departments want to see information that's relevant to them, and other departments want to see slightly different view and information that's relevant to them. So the idea of these views is they can be configured and managed by your administrator to give you, the user, the choice or the best user experience that they can based on what you would like to see. And that's really where this card view was born from. And it's really a simpler, much simpler view where you've got information that you can see or use rather than having all of these edit fields and so forth. So I created one prior to coming online this morning, and I called it card view. So it just kind of helps you see this information. So I don't know whether you can see here, it's a much simpler view of the screen. The card part is this kind of white area that's created over here with a much simpler view. You've got information in fields, you can have labels and things on here, but I've cut this, restricted it right down. The other thing that I've done here is allow information to show, but not as a value, but really just as an action button. So for example, if I wanted to email Alan here, I could just go and get the normal email option that's available, and it would pop up an email so I can email him straight away, perhaps a navigation to the company that employs him, and you can see that that would go straight to that navigation. Now the idea of this is to give a much quicker, simpler look and feel to a record view, which is ideal for some users, I would suggest. You can still edit these fields, but not on this card view screen. What you would do is, I don't know if you can see this little pencil icon at the top here of a card type view, any area that's set as a card view. If I click on that, you can see I can get back to that information. So I can flick between these really easily, so I can see that information on the card view. So you can still edit these in the normal way, but the standard default view is this card. So just to recap, that is, it is an area or a view that is configured by your administrator. My advice would be, having done this a couple of times already, is to draw out what you want to see. It's a whole lot easier if you have a good idea of what you want, because if you've got any experience of changing the fields and moving them around, it can be quite cumbersome in terms of the whole list of fields. So at least then you can go and select the ones that you do want, rather than trying to figure out and imagine what it's going to look like. So draw it out first, I would suggest. And if you've got a suggestion for your administrator, then draw it out and say, I'd really like a view that looks like this in the card view style. So card views is the first one off of our list there. The next one we're going to have a look at is freezing of panes. Now, I quite like this. It's a very reminiscent of an Excel type view, if you like, but quite useful when you're looking at a landing page. So I've gone into a standard landing page here. All organizations will do for this one. And you can see here I've got a whole list of information. Now I might want to add some columns in this to see more information. Maybe I want to see category or country, or the created at date, or credit limit. Lots of information that you could normally add. And of course, what this does is give you the ability to scroll across and see the information. But I'm looking at this category here, but I can't actually see the company name, unfortunately, because I've scrolled it off my screen. So in a similar way that you would in Excel, what you can do is you can freeze a particular column, any one that you can go into the normal column drop down, and you can see here there's an option to freeze, which now means when I scroll across, that column doesn't move, and then I can see this PR agency is Aero Systems in this example. So really useful to scroll across and freeze the panes as you'd expect, and to switch them off if you need to, you can choose unfreeze, and it allows you to do that. And in the normal way, of course, you would view save if you want to keep it in that way for future visits to this particular landing page. So freeze panes, nice, quick and simple, and you can pretty much do that on all of your landing page and grid views throughout the system. Next then, let's have a look at the hamburger tab. So a bit of a strange one. I've come across lots of people that didn't know the menu options were called hamburgers. There's often a view of three little dots, and you can see that in the top right corner of my screen. If they're upright, it's generally called a hamburger menu, denoted by the slices of different information. So here, if I go to a record, now the idea, or what was available before, is you could scroll across if you had multiple tabs, and you can see here I've got lots of tabs on an organization record, and it might be quite cumbersome to scroll across and read the one that I want to see. So the idea is they've added this new hamburger menu button at the beginning of the tabs, which allow you to go and select the information that you want to see straight away, rather than trying to scroll across. It's ideal for those systems where you've got many tabs against a record. We have quite a lot in our live system against an organization record, mappings and all sorts of other iframe type tabs and report tabs. So it's ideal very quickly to be able to navigate through to those tabs really quick and easily. You can see there's a dashboard tab there that I've just navigated to quickly and simply. Okay, so that is the thanks for the picture, Tim, it was great. The hamburger tab or hamburger button option there, or selection button. Finally on the list of the 4 items that we're going to show you this morning is the grid edit. Probably one of my favorite, actually. I've been waiting for this for some time. It allows you as a user, given the correct capabilities, to be able to change information on the screen, a landing page or report, which gives you ability to grid edit the information. This is ideal where you will, in I guess another way of one of those Excel type edits, where you can scroll down and edit lots of information just by looking down a screen and editing the field. Whereas in this example, I can't, because when I click on a value, it opens the record or opens a value. So what you can do is you can move, using the view menu, you can move this into an edit type mode. So here it says edit grid, and when I do that, it gives a bit of a flick, and I can add maybe columns that I want to be able to see and edit. Maybe if I add a column of county here, you can see maybe if I scroll across there, I could of course use my freeze panes option, but you can see here I can see my towns and my counties, and a bit of cleaning up I think needs to be done here. You can see here this town of Birmingham should be at West Midlands County. So if I click in here, you can see this is, you couldn't do this before, where you can actually click straight away into a field and change. So Enfield I think is London, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can see here you can go through and edit any information on here. So I've got maybe industry I'll add as well. So you might know your customers really well. And from a view screen such as this, just add industry. Let's see how clean that data is there. So you can see again, if I go and get my industry column in a viewable area, I can potentially look down this and think, well, okay, yes, I know Anderson Developments, I know their industry is one of the, and you can see here brings forward the pick list from the record, and I can see really quickly and easily I can change and edit the information that's on these fields, edit them or fill them in if they're empty. Once done, you can see it's marked with a little green corner of the cell to show that you've edited it. Once you've done that and you're happy, you can choose the Save button at the top, and those records have now been edited. And if we went into this record and looked at the industry, you could see that it was done. To navigate to the record, of course, we're going to need to go back to our standard view and view as a grid, not the grid edit, and you can see here I can click on the record in the normal way. So it just puts it into that edit mode, which is really good for maybe looking for records that need a cleanse, and you can see them on the screen. Rather than going into each one individually and changing the field entry, you can do it within that landing page. So grid edits is the fourth and last one in our little show here. Tim, got any comments or anything you'd like to add to those 4 items?
Nothing extra to add, Pete. So everyone, when you're next in Workbooks, check out those new features. Let us know how you get on. We'd love to get your feedback. And as those of you that are listening live, you'll be familiar with the format. So we now open out our session to any questions or answers specifically around the topic of this event, the new release, the new features here. But we can answer any question you got on our Workbooks. That's no problem. So pop in those questions. I think there's only one so far from Dom. With the card view, can I make it that a certain user only sees that view? With the card view, can I make it that a certain user only sees that view?
Oh, yes. I think I understand the question. Yes. So with any of these views, they can be shared. And when you create a view, you have to choose to share it with a list of users, be that a group of users, everyone, or indeed a specific user. So I'm assuming that you don't want a kind of a busy screen for this particular user. So what you would probably do is not share these other ones, but only share the card view, so that that user's default view and the only one he can select, he or she, of course, is that card view. And then you can give that person the option to edit those fields, of course. But the simple answer to your question is yes, you can restrict it so that a user can only see a single particular view. Yes.
Okay. We just check the questions. Emma is asking, hi, I don't have the grid edit available. Do I need to install an update?
Emma, I would imagine, because it should have just arrived, and if it hasn't, I would maybe take that offline afterwards and I can take a look for you. Hopefully you're on the more modern theme. I haven't checked actually to see whether it's on the classic theme of the screens. So check that out first, Emma. Check it with any user that's got this main theme, and if not, then give me a shout and I can take a look for you, Emma, quickly and see if it's there. But I haven't had to switch anything on to enable it. But it is a particular there might be some security that's stopping you seeing it and edit the screen. So let's take a look offline. Happy to do that.
Okay, I don't think there's any more questions there, so thanks the two of you for those questions. So that's it, us done. The new release, the September 2020 release of Workbooks, those 4 new features. We'll catch up with you next time. If you've got any questions or further queries on Workbooks, or you want to get more information on anything discussed on this event, there's our contact details, Tim Wilmot and Peter Johnson of Wizard Systems. There's our YouTube channel, Wizard Systems. If you've got any suggestions for future Workbooks topics that would be of interest to other Workbooks users, we'd love to hear from you. So please contact any of us at Wizard Systems, even our support desk there. Be happy to consider those for future events. But we'll catch up with you next time. Thanks very much indeed. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.